Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are excited to share with you what we are doing in Workspace around product inclusion. My name is Stephanie Boudreau, and I'm a program manager overseeing product inclusion for Workspace. Sydney Coleman will start the conversation to give us more information about product inclusion. Over to you, Sydney.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sydney Coleman, and I work on product inclusion across Google to ensure that underrepresented users are considered throughout the entire product design and development process. Product inclusion and equity is about building for everyone with everyone. It's the practice of bringing an inclusive lens throughout the entire product development and design process. No matter where you are, who you love, the color of your skin, or any other dimension of identity that makes you you, we want all users to feel seen, validated, and uplifted by Google products. We look at 13 dimensions of diversity listed on this slide, including identity groups such as age, race, socioeconomic status, physical attributes, language, and more. We also think about building products that address intersectionality. A user who is a woman of color is not a woman on Tuesday and a person of color on Wednesday. She is always both. We are all multifaceted, and so we should think intersectionally about the things that make users who they are. Product inclusion does not live with one person or one team. Everyone has a part to own. What you're seeing here are different points in the process where you need to ask who else and make sure voices at the margins are brought to the center. Our team spent 2 years doing research on the business case for inclusion, and we found that there are 4 areas highlighted in blue that disproportionately helped teams launch more inclusive and equitable products. The first step, ideation, involves bringing in diverse perspectives to ensure you aren't just building for yourself or others like you. This is especially crucial for homogenous teams that may not have diversity across gender, age, ability, ethnicity, and so forth. Next, user research is the first inflection point where you can get to the core of what the user needs are and what challenges you're trying to solve for. This often involves getting out of Silicon Valley and learning how people use technology and what gaps there are. Once the product or service is created, testing involves getting feedback from a myriad of potential users from all walks of life. By stress testing, users may be able to break your product or find challenges and opportunities that the team had not thought of. Lastly, it's important to consider whose voice is being represented with your marketing. Are you avoiding perpetuating stereotypes about marginalized users? How are you attracting new and underrepresented audiences in user journeys? And now Steph will share some specific examples of what this looks like in the product development process. More specifically, how some of our products and features are designed to drive equity in a hybrid work environment.
Thank you, Sydney. Let's talk about how we've taken the theory of product inclusion and made it part of our product. To share some history, in 2019, we launched low light mode in Google Duo. And last year at Next, we talked about our journey to make sure it worked for users with different skin tones. So what is low light mode on Duo? It will automatically adjust the brightness of your video. And during the product development process, we noticed it was triggering false lead conditions that were reasonably well lit for individuals with darker skin tones. Participants felt like it misrepresented who they are. We understood from Duo's low light research and feedback that false triggering of the feature caused a negative experience for the user. This is where we started when building a similar feature in Google Meet. The goal was to improve the image quality for stationary video calls and backlit scenarios. While we took good care in our feature design to make sure the algorithm worked for darker skin tones, it turned out that under certain lighting conditions, users with lighter skin tones turned pink, or, as a report said, I look like a lobster. Through feedback from a diverse group of testers, the team was able to determine which algorithm was more robust and worked for all. This ensured that all video calls on Google Meet work well for everyone. Meet Light Enhancement is an AI feature that automatically detects when a user appears underexposed and enhances the brightness to improve their visibility irrespective of their skin tone. The AI algorithm has been tuned to ensure people with darker skin tones are illuminated in video chats, as well as people with lighter skin tones, are lit up. We have developed processes to run these tests for our up-and-coming and future features. Product inclusion is now a mandatory verification during our launch process for all our work and has provided us with the foundation of fairness testing at scale for our image processing algorithms. But inclusion work is not always about building new features. It can also be about updating existing features. This is why it's important to advocate for inclusion and equity along all parts of the product lifecycle. When we started looking at our current features, we were able to see opportunities to bring inclusion to what exists. One example is the work recently done in Google Slides. In June, the Slides team changed the term master to theme builder, which better articulates what the user is doing. Master was used as a way to define the style of the slide deck. It's a term that was standard in the industry when creating presentations. However, we felt that theme builder better communicates the benefits to help users quickly customize the font, color, and layout, ensuring a consistent experience throughout the presentation. By removing it, it eliminates a non-inclusive term for our products, helping us build toward our goal of having inclusive language throughout Google Workspace products. There are other ways to approach inclusion beyond just product development. Inclusion and equity has evolved when it comes to work based on the current state of the world. Some people are in the office while others are working remote. It may not be possible to swing by someone's desk to ask a question or have an impromptu meeting in the hallway. It's vital that we are approaching equity and inclusion in the workplace, and this is where Google Workspace is fostering it. Here are logos of some of the products that make us Google Workspace: Gmail, Drive, Calendar, Docs, Sheets, Slide, and Meet, just to name a few. What I'm excited about sharing is a few ways these products, specifically Google Docs, Google Meet, and Google Calendar, can bring inclusion and equity in a hybrid work environment. Let's start with Google Docs. Have you ever needed a dry erase board or physical space to brainstorm ideas? It can be challenging when everyone isn't located in the same place. Instead of using a dry erase board to brainstorm in or out of a meeting, open a Google Doc, add collaborators, and you can brainstorm together in real time. This is a great way to bring people who are in the office and those that are remote together on the same surface. It also allows people who may not regularly speak up in meetings the chance to share their ideas in writing. Speaking about meetings, Google Meet is a great way to connect virtually with team members, customers, or anyone you want to meet with. Here are a few examples of ways to bring equity and inclusion to your meetings. We encourage people to use the raise hand feature, which allows attendees the opportunity to share their thoughts and participate in the conversation without speaking out over each other. It also makes sure that people who aren't in the room have the ability to be a part of the discussion. Chat and Meet is another example of having a voice. An attendee is able to share their thoughts, ideas, or words of encouragement through a traditional chat box in Meet. Lastly, and probably the most important, is closed captions. This allows people who are hard of hearing, deaf, or someone who may not be a native speaker to better understand the conversation. Oftentimes, a meeting starts with a calendar invite. Here are some ways that Google Calendar can foster inclusion. I don't know about you, but there are some meetings that I prefer to do in person, or at least would like to know ahead of time if someone will be joining virtually. Google Calendar now offers this option. When you are accepting an invite, indicate whether you'll join a meeting virtually or in person. The organizer and guests will see how attendees are planning to attend the meeting and the event details, which helps attendees know how to prepare accordingly. You are also able to set your working hours and location. First, let's talk about working hours. Not everyone works the same hours or on the same time zone. It's important that we recognize and respect it. By sharing your working hours, people on your team and within your organization are aware of when you are reachable. hopefully limiting people messaging or setting up time when you aren't available. You can also split your working hours to accommodate reoccurring times like lunch or dropping your child off at school. This allows for a more detailed understanding of when you're available during your workday. But it's not just knowing someone's working hours that's useful. You can also share your location. For instance, I'm working from home today, but will be in the office tomorrow. By setting my work location, people can schedule time based on where I will be for that meeting. This is really useful. For example, if you're taking a meeting with a customer in another city and you want your team to know where you are. There are different ways that inclusion and equity is thought of in Google Workspace. We hope that the content was insightful and informative, and that you will start using some of the tips we shared today in your next meeting. In Workspace and at Google as a whole, we are always looking for ways to build a more inclusive work environment with our products. I'd like to thank Sydney for her contribution, and thank you for joining us at Next 21.